There was nothing left that I could eat. I had been eliminating things over the years to the point where there's nothing left.
Laurie, how did you find carnivore?
So basically, I found carnivore by accident. I wasn't looking for any kind of diet advice or anything at the time. I had been having quite a bit of trouble with my hips, and I've been diagnosed with osteoarthritis and osteoporosis. And I had a particularly bad week. And that day that was really bad, I couldn't even get to the kitchen. I made it to the kitchen. I hobbled to the kitchen. I thought, this is it. My life is over. Why is it getting worse? You know, I'm doing everything I can. I got a glass of water and I thought, well, I guess this is my life. I'm going back to bed. I'm going to cry. I'm going to stay in bed all day again, watching YouTube on my phone. And I started Googling. I don't know why I even thought that maybe Google had a different answer than it did before. And I started Googling what to do about inflammation, how to help pain in the hip, osteoarthritis, different things. And every time I changed the search words, it kept sending me carnivore videos. And I thought, what are you doing, Google? Even Google doesn't work, you know, like what is going on? And I'm about to throw my phone out the window and just give up on life. And then I thought, wait a minute, maybe somebody's trying to tell me something. Maybe you should watch a carnivore video. I mean, you're just going to sit here and watch Karen videos anyway. So watch a carnivore video instead. So I did. One led to another. Next thing you know, I've got a crash course in carnivore, and I'm liking what I'm hearing. Like, I'm just blown away by the testimonials, you know, and the carnivore community. I started chiming into the chats right away, and everybody they were jumping over each other to give me advice. And I'm like, okay, well, I just spent $200 on fresh market groceries the day before. I don't really need to go back out today and go get more meat, you know, and another $100 or $200, but I did. And I thought, what am I going to do with all these vegetables? Well, I'll just phase them out. So it took about 2 weeks of trying to do both, like more meat, but also less of the other stuff. And by the 2-week mark, I just said, forget it. I'm carnivore straight ahead. I'm just going to go for it. And I gave everything away. and the rest is history in terms of jumping into carnivore and staying carnivore. I just knew somehow right away that I think I found my answer. I have no idea how.
And so, how long ago was this?
This was 6 months ago. I just had my 6-month carniversary 2 days ago.
Okay, and it must you must have had some kind of relief because you've kept with it. What has happened in that 6 months?
The first day, all I had in the house was, I think, chicken, and I ate it because it was meat. And that night when I went to bed, like, I mean, I still was hobbling and, you know, pain was still there, but in my head, I felt different. And I thought, Lori, you're delusional. This isn't real. I just wanted it so bad. I thought, I'm kidding myself. But I just made note of it, you know. And then the next day, I ate even more meat than the day before. And just, I could feel something was changing. I couldn't put my finger on it. And I think, like I say, about 2 weeks, I'm like, wow. You know, I still had lots of heartburn, reflux. You know, it wasn't that it was immediately better. I could just tell something was different. And so it was like all these little subtle changes was enough to make me just sort of take notice and think, hey, things have been better than they ever have been before. So, you know, what have you got to lose? Like, it's still a better situation than previously. And eventually I did start to walk better. And I did start to feel that pain go away. I still have it to this day, but I'm still trying to figure out, is there still something like maybe coffee or bacon or just one tiny little thing that I'm still including that might flare it up once in a while? Or it might have nothing to do with how I'm eating now. It might have to do with if I moved furniture around the day before, or if the barometric pressure is doing something. You know, it's arthritis, so it might be affected by weather. But in general, like I think I made a list of 24 things of improvements, and I made a video about it. And I thought, listen to what you're saying, 24 things, you know, and that list I made at the 3-month mark.
So can you share some of those 24 things?
Yeah, if I can remember most of them, but I mean, like the heartburn, the overall body pain, like I wasn't diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but it was suspected. And the way they wanted to diagnose it was, here, we'll give you this medication that we usually give people for fibromyalgia. And if it works, then we'll know you have it. And I wasn't willing to take the medication. I'm one of those people that I refuse meds. I've been refusing meds for decades. I just have always been sensitive to side effects and stuff. So I just, if I can find another way, I won't take meds. So we assumed I had fibromyalgia. I mean, I was in pain all over my body, but I specifically had arthritis in my hips. And then my knees started hurting, but I never got x-rays on those. I've had back injuries. I've had several back injuries over the years that they just feel like they're just old injuries that are never really going to be perfect, you know? And they're all but gone now. The weight loss, like 40 pounds total. 9 pounds I lost before carnivore because I was starting to eat a little bit better. But then another 30, you know, with carnivore. But things like rosacea, for the most part, cleared up. It again, these things will flare up from time to time, but nothing like they were. Migraines, I haven't had a headache in 6 weeks. I was getting them weekly. And again, I won't take anything. If it's really bad, I'll take like maybe one tiny little, you know, minimal dosage of something just to get the edge off. But then I pay for it. I suffer for it for 3 days if I take something. So I have no gallbladder. I've had issues with that. I was diagnosed with fatty liver. I have a vagus nerve condition that I was starting to get these vibration kind of feelings in my, I guess in my sternum, like in my chest and my stomach. My whole body, it felt like I swallowed a cell phone and it was buzzing inside me. And it would keep me awake. Like I've had insomnia, I've had sleep apnea. I don't think I'm snoring at all anymore. I don't know for sure, but you know, you don't have that dry throat in the morning, and I'm sleeping great now.
So, what's the status of your fatty liver now?
So the last time I got it checked at the homeopath instead of a blood test from a doctor. And she said, everything's flowing perfect and smooth. I had, the last time I had blood tests on that, everything was good. I think it was a year ago. But since then, I got 4 infections in a row and had to do 4 courses of antibiotics in a row because they didn't give me enough the first time that it kept coming back. And finally, by the 4th one, I was so sick, I thought, I don't care if I die, I'm not taking any more. I wasn't convinced that the infection was better, but I also couldn't take the pills anymore. And I knew I was wrecking my liver again. So I stopped. The original infection seemed to be cleared up somewhere along the line, maybe by the 3rd one, it had cleared up. But then I immediately went back to the homeopath and I said, okay, what's the damage? And my liver was completely bad again. Like it won't take much, I don't think, Like I worked very hard for 2 years to get my liver back to normal numbers. I started with keto, but I did it too hard and too fast and got really, really sick after that and decided, oh, keto's dangerous. I better not do that. Plus, they wanted me to eat gluten to get tested for celiac. And I said, I can't eat gluten. I haven't eaten gluten in decades. And they said, well, you're going to have to if you want to know if you have celiac. So they said, just have a half a slice of toast every morning. And that'll be enough gluten for 3 weeks. And then we'll be able to test you. I had a half a toast that morning. Then I had a whole toast the next morning, 2 toasts the next morning. The carb addiction was right back again. And again, here comes the bad eating habits again. But yeah, I had successfully, I guess, reversed fatty liver just enough that my numbers were good. And then I got sick again and took antibiotics, and here we go again. But I'm now, according to the homeopath, better. I still haven't had blood tests on that, but I'm sure it's good.
And so, how have you been eating for these last 6 months? Like, how many meals in a day?
I go back and forth. When I first started carnivore, I think I was 3 meals a day. I was having a lot of trouble with the extra fat because of the no gallbladder, and I just wasn't used to it. Then I discovered that it was chicken fat in particular that was really making me nauseous. So I cut out chicken. And then I just experimented with how much bacon, or if I wanted to use pork belly instead of bacon. I found a really clean bacon, so I think that really helped. But for the most part, I eat hamburger, steak. I get a roast once in a while. And every once in a while, I'll get like a pork loin or something just to change it up a bit. I don't really experiment too much with recipes. I just stick with, I did do Lion Diet for about 2 weeks, and I did feel pretty good on that. But I missed the bacon and some of the other foods. So I went ahead and went back, and I don't think it did any too much harm. I think the thing that's bothering me the most that I keep bringing back in and taking back out is coffee. And I have no idea if it's just the caffeine or if it's just the fact that it's coffee, but I think it's doing more than just affecting my sleep. I'm only having 1 week cup every morning, but I think it's enough that it's affecting my nervous system a little bit, because I think I'm just that sensitive to everything that's going to continue probably even after I heal more. That's my theory anyway.
And how have family and friends reacted to you eating this way?
So all 3 of my daughters, they just say, "Go, mom," but they have that typical answer that says, "Oh, I could never do that." But if it's working for you, that's good. But I had one girlfriend in particular. We're just reconnecting now. We haven't seen each other since grade 6. So like we're talking 50 years. And we're just having a great old time reconnecting, but we don't know each other at all as adults. And so she's been quite worried about me. We reconnected a couple of years ago. So she knows about all the trouble I've been having with digestion and hip pain and what I eat and stuff. And we've gone out to eat a few times, and I just can't do restaurants really. And so finally I told her, I said, well, I'm basically eating meat, and I've lost 40 pounds, and I'm showing her, like, look at me, like, you can see I'm different, right? And and so then she really wanted to know. She was really interested, and I thought, wow, finally somebody really wants to know. And I mean, she's in perfect health, and she's never had a weight problem. She's never had a carb addiction. She's one of the lucky ones. But she felt like she could always improve her health. I mean, we're both in our 60s. So I thought, wow, she really wants to know. And when I started to get into the conversation, she had more and more questions. And when I got to the part about eating like a caveman, she just stopped me cold dead and said she doesn't believe in evolution. And I I was done. I couldn't go any further. So we just decided that we'll agree to disagree on the lifestyle. Um, and we don't talk about it a whole lot.
Okay, that's a shame because regardless whether you believe in evolution or not, like it's just a matter of kind of going back 1,000 years or something and going, well, how would we have eaten? It probably wasn't Fruit Loops,
Well, I shouldn't have said caveman. I should have said our ancestors, or your great 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 grandmother, how she ate.
She was willing to entertain the idea, and she's doing well anyway, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and I know
the
a few
important
people
thing.
like that they just somehow lucked out, where they just always ate what they call balanced meals, and they always maintained a healthy weight, and they could take a sweet or leave a sweet. It really didn't matter. And they were active their whole lives. And if, again, I'm going to say back to them, if that works for them, great. But if you know me, and when you hear my story, if you just met me, you will see that I got to the point where carnivore was kind of by default anyway, because there was nothing left that I could eat. I had been eliminating things over the years to the point where there's nothing left, you know? So why not try it?
Yeah. So at this stage, this is how you're going to eat going forward. There's no going
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, there's no. I knew. I don't know if I want to say by day 2, but I knew by week 2 for sure. This is it. Like there's, and again, I can't really say specifically what was it that made me decide that this is it. I'm just doing this. I might change my mind in 5 years and try to have a pickle again one day or something. I don't know, but um, it's working, and I think the thing is, once you get a few results, you can't wait to see what more results you can get. And if you can get this, then maybe you can also get that. And I just want to keep on going. It's almost like as if I want to represent carnivores too. I want to be the poster child, that you can say, well, I mean, kind of like some of the people in the community, they'll say things like, I'm still trying to have a heart attack, but it hasn't happened yet. You know, supposedly we're all going to have heart attacks, but I just want to show people, because I believe in it, in terms of like all the testimonials, that this works. There's something to the science of this. And I don't need to see the scientific proof. I just want to listen to the people that have been doing it for years, and I believe them.
And the thing is, the main person you need to believe is your own body, right? And your own
Yeah.
body's telling you it's the right thing.
Yeah. My body's been screaming at me for decades. And I thought I was listening, and I just kept trying to figure it out. But I was also listening to mainstream advice and assuming it was right and correct. I mean, I worked in healthcare for the last 20 years of my career. So, um, I believed in the healthcare system until I didn't.
So, did you experience any transition symptoms going in? Like I know you had issues with your gallbladder, but was that really the only transitional issue you had?
No, I was the opposite of most people. Most people complain about diarrhea at the beginning, because either they're getting rid of toxins, or they're getting used to the fat. And I was constipated going in. And boy, did that ever get severe. And I thought I was going to die. But the other things were so much better that I just stuck with it. And that's the other thing about going down the rabbit hole with all the videos and talking to the people in the chats. I knew what to expect. And I knew, I mean, most of them said, you know, be prepared for loose stools for a couple of weeks or whatever. I knew that I was opposite girl. That's what I call myself, opposite girl. Um, but eventually I had to take medication. It got so severe. And I thought, it's okay, Lori, to have to take medication for something once, you know, just to get through something. And once I solved it, I went completely the other way. And I struggled with that for quite a while. And again, it was between the chicken fat and a couple other things. Like I started eating so much pork belly and bacon, I think I became addicted to it. And I just wanted to keep eating fat because I knew that's why the weight was coming off. But I overdid it. And I tend to do that too. I'm an extremist. I go from one end to the other, and it's like, can you just find the middle? And I think I found the middle.
Nice. So if a friend was interested in getting started and they came to you for advice, what would you tell them to get started easily?
I would be very cautious if they asked me because I'm a little gun shy because of the friend that asked me and seemed really interested. I felt tricked into that conversation, quite honestly. Um, so I would make sure, do you really want to do this? You know, do you like, what is your why? How badly do you want this? Are you ready? Are you really ready? Because you got to be ready for something like this. It's like, I mean, we're ridiculed. We're the outcast, you know, and it's extreme at first. You can't wrap your head around it. And if they promise me that, you know, they really are ready, then I might just advise them to go slow, go gradual. You'll know when you're ready to ditch the rest of the food and go for it. I think anyway.
Nice. So Laurie, can you tell us about your YouTube channel? How can we find you and what kind of videos do you have there?
So I usually just sit here and chat just like I am now. The channel name is Lori's Carnivore Story, and my handle is at Carnalori. And I've decided to add another weekly. So I put videos out every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Canada. And I decided to add one on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And that's just my walks. I've been walking recently and I found a steep hill to challenge myself. And people seem to really enjoy me taking them along on my walks.
Oh, nice. Well, I'll link to your YouTube channel in the show notes.
Thank you,
Laurie,
Dave.
thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you too, Dave. Thank you.